Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So as you can tell by the title, we will be talking about a potentially a first winter storm or snowstorm of the season. Now, this won't be occurring anywhere that usually doesn't see snow in September, and I'll tell you where it's going to be occurring just in a minute. But I do want to mention that this is still very far out. There's still a lot of details to be sorted out, but there's been growing confidence from both the European ensembles and the GFS ensembles for a first winter storm. And I do want to say that at this point last year, we've already had our winter storm. If you recall, across Colorado and Wyoming, there was an early snowstorm that was right around the first week of September, and we're already past the first week. Okay, before we get into this, if you guys are new to this channel, hello, welcome, watch the video, see if you like this stuff. If you're a returning viewer and you haven't yet subscribed, consider doing that. Obviously, if you enjoy the channel, consider hitting the thumbs up button. Any comments or concerns, leave them down below. I do my best to answer them. And otherwise, let's start talking about this winter storm. Okay, so I want to start off by showing the GFS model. Again, Global Forecasting System, a very good model. It goes out very far, up to 384 hours, unlike the European and Canadian that only go out to 240 hours. This snowstorm only does appear in the GFS model because the other models are don't go far out enough. So you may be wondering, why on earth am I showing you this if it's so far out, and usually I wouldn't be. However, this being a special occasion, obviously their first snowstorm potential, and using ensemble support data, which I have on this website, I could make a decent claim at this point. You know, maybe not likely, but I'll probably word the title something along the lines of early indications are showing a possibility for a snowstorm. And yeah, that holds true. So let's take a look at the GFS. First off, I want to mention it's going to be a very active pattern, regardless of whether or not you will get hit by that winter storm. That area, you know, that's going to be further out. Up until then, we have storms of rain. Obviously, the first one being this weekend across southern Canada and into portions of the northeast, though it doesn't bring that big of an impact. Then what we start seeing is tropical moisture across the south. It's been there for a while and will continue to be there, but notice it starts riding a bit further towards the north. We see a very strong low pressure, which is actually off this map. You can't see it. It's across central Canada at this point. It's 132 hours out. Again, this is the time and date, by the way, so if you have any concerns of when this is occurring, right there, 7 p.m. September 14th. I'll zoom in just for you guys to see that a bit better. And notice, this is Wednesday, again, September 14th. And as we push this forward, we see a lot of rain, right? Definitely some storms, severe thunderstorms, some flooding threat. But again, that isn't the pattern change. The pattern change, what we start seeing, by the way, I want to mention one thing. I will be making videos about this system, this kind of fall storm, I'll call it. But this winter storm is a bit separate. It's a different system. The U.S. is big. The forecast range is large. That's why we have usually multiple systems to juggle around with. So not every video is about the same storm on my channel. And usually you can't really make that distinction based off the title as well, because, well, I can't get that descriptive in the title. That's why watching the video is important in order to know what's actually going on. And notice that what we do start seeing, and this is what all models show, the Canadian and European, is chilly air across the northwest. And I just want to show you this because if you recall, a few weeks ago I made a video about a potential pattern change, but I was advertising for potentially cold air across the Midwest, maybe the northeast. And now this air mass, this cool air mass, it's gonna occur, which is, you know, that's a good sign. At least it didn't completely flip on us, but it's gonna be occurring much further towards the north and the west. So the explanation for that, well, obviously the models were a little bit unconfident, and now it's less further out, so they have more confidence. But what that means is that these areas, from potentially being cooler, got a drastic change, and it looks as if the next coming weeks, the Midwest, the Northeast, the South, even the Southwest, will be dealing with extreme heat, especially across the upper plains into portions of the Midwest. So if you're tired of this heat at this point, I've been mentioning this for ever since July. It's going to be a warm fall. I still stand by that. I think September will be warm. I think October will be even warmer. By November, maybe some signs of a cool off for there will be brief cool patterns, but not something that's going to be considered, wow, it's felt like fall the last 3 weeks. Definitely not something like that. Not trying to be too confident, but it's supported. Again, the Weather Channel, Climate Prediction Center, NOAA, they all have the same viewpoints, and I have to agree with them. Notice what we start seeing in the temperature anomaly. This is the GFS model. Again, the same model I've been showing you, and I want to show you that past really the 240-hour time frame where the European and Canadian stopped showing. Look at all this heat right here, and look at all the cool weather up here. It's definitely not as extreme as the heat, but hold on, as we go further and further out, what we start seeing is, look, blasts of heat that are very, very hot, but also chilly air that is very, very chilly. Where it goes down, it must go up, and that's kind of the weather pattern. And notice, really, the eastern kind of 2/3 of the country are very, 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 very warm. A fall heat wave. But look at that cool air right there, and that's definitely enough to usually support a snowstorm at late September timeframe. And if we get enough moisture, who knows? This snowstorm, some models are showing, could even affect portions of the Dakotas a bit earlier on. But yes. Just because the title says snowstorm, I want to make this super clear. The Northeast, the Midwest, if you live in Chicago, Detroit, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, you really won't be seeing much of a snowstorm or a winter storm or even fall. Probably more like summer conditions. Again, very, very hot temperatures, but look at that chilly air. I want to show you the 2-meter temperature shaded because this was an anomaly compared to average, right? But look at the 2-meter temperature shaded. Obviously, there's not 90s way into Wisconsin because it is at this point late September, but that's still way warmer than it should be, and that extends into Nebraska, South Dakota, portions of South Dakota. But look at that contrast. South Dakota, 90s in the south and east, 40s in the northwest and northwest part of the state. And look at the temperatures right there. Definitely pretty chilly during the nights. It's rather profound, that cool air, and that is aided by, as you've guessed it, a snowstorm potentially, and you can see that's way more widespread than just the mountains seeing snow. Montana and Wyoming aren't just one giant mountain, and yes, it does help that there's an ample amount of cool air from the mountains nearby, but it does take a sense of degree of cold in order to transform the lower elevations into snowy landscapes this early out in the year. Now I want to show you the simulated radar. I did show you an active pattern will be going on. All these storms, look at all that warm air getting pumped from the south and east. We have a low pressure, kind of a trough digging in from the south and from the north and west. We have a large high pressure from the east, and that is just driving these extreme anomalies of temperature into the Midwest, the southern Canada, the northeast. But again, we will see rain with that, so the drought conditions shouldn't get really that much worse, if you will. And again, it's not the best of news when you see a cold front with quite a bit of yellow colorings, given how warm the temperatures will be, meaning there will be some severe weather probably with this pattern. But look across the northwest, we start seeing more precip, right? And look at all that snow that starts blossoming. This is, again, going to be producing a very large heat wave across the eastern United States, but it's going to allow for a very potentially snowy pattern across the north and west, and you can see several days of snow potentially for those folks. I did show you the snowfall accumulations. They're rather profound. So that is the first snowstorm, if you will. Again, it's obviously across areas that usually see snow, usually see snow before anyone else does in the United States, but it's definitely still a bit overly expansive for September, mid-September. And I do want to show you different models. Obviously, the Canadian and other European models, they show less because it goes further out. But I do want to show you that they agree perfectly almost with the GFS on the temperature anomalies. Look, a very similar pattern, just ridiculous heat across the eastern and northern United States, and very, very, very cool temperatures across the northwest and southern Canada. I have a feeling that the Canadian right here is underdoing some of these cool temperature anomalies. I do apologize about that phone buzzing. I have it somewhere here, and I don't know where that noise is coming from. I mean, I know it's coming from the phone, but there we go. Time to silence this little guy. It's becoming a little bit too loud here. All right. Again, if I were to take a look at the 2-meter temperature shaded, it's pretty warm, and those 80s don't look bad because that's 7 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, during the day, it's going to be probably 90s and 80s. If this was summer, July, late July, this would be hundreds, definitely. But, it's already September. The averages are cooling down. So that's unfortunate for those folks across the East, the Midwest, the South, but it's going to be a nice relief, and honestly well-deserving for the folks across the Northwest, as they've been dealing with the heat most of the season. They deserve a break. But of course, Mother Nature doesn't care about equal opportunity for cool and warm air, so we just gotta roll with the punches. European model, what does it show? Well, it shows a very active pattern up until kind of that snowstorm time frame, which is a bit later on. You could see little systems, I should say. They're pretty large, and again, they could have powerful cold fronts, each and every single one of them, producing severe weather, derechos, whatnot. Obviously, probably not derechos with every event, but there's a possibility for them. There have been derechos in the early fall before, and if it were to occur, it would be with the pattern kind of what we have right now. Not saying that they will, but just a possibility. I do want to say, look at all that moisture across the Northwest. The European is agreeing with the GFS on that. And where does a 540 line show up? Well, it shows up across the Northwest. Right there we have it. And again, this doesn't go too far out. It only goes out to 240. But if we were to take a look at the temperature anomaly, it's a very, very similar setup. We have extreme heat across the plains and the east. And if I were to push this out for you a bit further out, which I can't, well, let's say the European went out to 300. This would move further towards the east, and we'd see more cool air introduced to the Northwest. The reason I know that is, well, all I have to do is take a look at this model's ensembles, kind of its family that it bases its kind of forecast off of. Before we do that, let me quickly show you the total snowfall the European shows, which is, again, very little, and that's reasonable because most of this activity will be occurring past the 240 hour. I am honestly surprised that when I showed you the Canadian model, the other model that goes out to 240, not the first model, the GFS, that it showed as much snow as it did. Right there, I'm a bit surprised by that, because the GFS, most of the snow it shows, you could see is, well, this only goes to 144. Most of the snow it shows only starts appearing around a 200 hour and past and beyond. Look at that right there. So let's take a look at the ensembles. So this is the GFS ensembles. So it's that first weather model I showed you, the one that's, if you will, more excited about this system. And the thing is that it's ensembles. They do show a system, but I want to show you the European ones. Those are really the true ones that are excited about this, meaning that they show that snowstorm. So look, we go out to 384 hours. This is the predicted snowfall. This is the Northwest. I wish I could show you the whole United States, but unfortunately with this website, it only allows me to show you sections of the United States. What we see is, well, obviously not all models support a snowstorm. We do have one that doesn't, one that doesn't, one that doesn't, one that does. One that doesn't even support really any snow at all, indicating probably a warmer pattern. But we have many. Look at this one, look at that one, look at this one, look at this one, look at that one, look at this one, look at this one. They are supporting some sign of a chillier and snowier pattern, again, led by that winter storm potentially far out. And the reason I say winter storm, not snowy pattern, is because, okay, look, at this point, almost none of the models are showing the snow. The models that do show the snow, none of them are showing the snow here. It's at this specific time frame around really around Monday the 20th through around Friday the 23rd. It is obviously a big time frame, but you could see that during that time we really add on a lot of that snow cover, and I do think that's going to be either from a series of storms or from one winter storm. But as I mentioned, this is surprisingly not the most excited ensembles. These are the European ensemble members. So with this model, I can show you the whole United States, and I will. However, I can't show you all the models at once. I'll have to individually click through them. All right, this is one. This is another one. Look at that. It supports definitely a snowy pattern, not too robust. This one supports some sort of a snowy pattern across Canada, not so much the U.S. Look at that one, not so much. Does support some, not too much. Look at that one already. That's a bit more across portions of Idaho and Montana. Still not the snowiest scenario. And here we start getting interesting results. So notice right there is a bit of snow right there. Look at that. Boom. Much of Wyoming seeing snow according to this model. Look at that one. Extremely heavy snow, potentially even to Nebraska, South Dakota. We go into P12, another model that is extremely excited about the snow. And, of course, the cold weather that would be kind of allowing this to fall in the first place. Look at that, another excited model. Of course, one that isn't. We have one that really isn't either, and another excited one. one that really isn't, one that kind of is, shows at least something, one that not really, right? This one shows a bit, definitely. This one shows a bit, just maybe not a snowstorm. This one, you could call that a snowstorm, shows some activity. This one, not so much. This one, a bit. You can see it extends out all the way into Nebraska. Definitely, that would need cold air. And look at that one, another excited one. This one, not so much, more into British Columbia. Look at that one. That one's more excited. And I'll just run through these. Look at that. That one. This one is a very excited. Again, there's 50 ensembles, so there's a lot. Oh, look at that one. That one's very excited. This one's excited. This one isn't. This one is. This one isn't. This one is kind of in between. This one slightly towards is. This one is excited. This one debatable. And these last two are not the most excited. But you can see it's about half and half. And if you were to just go back from really even a few days ago, clicking on the ensemble from sorry, let's take a look at that one right there, the 9th of, so this was, let's go to here actually, right here, and let's see, this was really yesterday, and you can see that there were some that did show the snow, but there was less, and of those that did, showed lesser amounts, and there was a lot more that showed kind of less excitement. This one was one that did show excitement. This one really didn't, this one didn't, this one did, kind of, this one didn't, this one did, this one didn't. So there's a lot of changes, but it's, again, especially around that late time frame, kind of bordering mid the 15th around the 21st of September. It's looking more and more likely for a first snowstorm across the Northwest. It is very far out. That's why I'm not saying a snowstorm is likely, but it's definitely possible. And at this point, I just want to say that even if that snow doesn't occur, those models that say weren't excited, I can pretty much guarantee you that they still show a cool temperature pattern. They just don't overlap precipitation with that. How can I guarantee you that? Well, let's take a look at the EPS as a ensemble. To click on United States, click on United States, and take a look at the 2-meter temperature anomalies. So that is basically telling us where it is above and below average at what given time. And this is all 50 models compiled into one frame. What do we see? Well, we see a lot of heat. That's good, right? That's what the models showed. But look what starts showing right there. It's first across Canada, British Columbia, few waves of chilly air. Obviously, the heat, I think, is overdone with some of these models, showing a bit more excited heat across Montana and Wyoming than it'll actually be. I think it'll be more centered towards where it is right here in this frame. And as we go further and further out, look at that. Look at all that cool air starts showing. That's a rather significant anomaly to be shown pretty expansively this far out. Usually models are a bit biased towards the warmth. That's kind of how they're programmed to really be. I don't really know actually, but they are. Usually they're a bit biased towards the warmer side the further out you look. And, you know, that's not really a big deal because usually they're not confident in whatever they're showing that far out. But in this case, if they're showing blue and at such a degree, yeah, it's definitely a sign of something. And this is why I'm saying that even if that snowstorm changes 1,000 times, I do think that around this time frame there will be a snow system that we'll be definitely talking about. It's far out, but again, these far out videos are fun. It's a lot of speculation, but I think that's what makes this entertaining. So again, these are the EPS, which are usually considered the more reasonable ensemble family. I could show you the GFS, which usually show something a bit crazier. So, you know, hopefully they agree with the European, and from what I showed you by the individual ensembles, they did. And look at it. So as we push it further and further out, they do definitely show chilly air, maybe not as expansively towards the United States, but it definitely shows that heat. So again, not everyone will be feeling this winter storm, if you will. But if it does show cool temperatures, which it does, it's centered across the west and northwest with lesser anomalies. But honestly, this is something I'd be more expected of, being this far out into time. So the European ensembles really put on a show there today, and really the past few days. All right. Stay safe, guys. Stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something new. These videos are just meant to be kind of entertaining. And, you know, regardless of whether this does or does not happen, again, I think it will. There's, you know, winter's on its way, and it will probably be not long before there's another snowstorm opportunity. But I really, if someone were asking me about in confidence about a snow system occurring in the next 15 days across the Northwest, I would say it's probably 60 or 70%. And this doesn't mean just higher elevations. This, you know, something like this, where there are many locations that, yes, usually see snow early, like Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons, but also many other locations that typically don't really see snow this early, seeing snow. At least not that much of it. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next episode. See ya.